Well, we are back out in the garage with a whole new project, and welcome back. But what we are working on today is a 2000, no, it ain't 2000, crap. It's a 1997 Oldsmobile LSS. And this thing has been a little bit of a pain in my butt, but I finally figured out what is going on with this. I've been on and off of it for a week now because neighbor leaving. But it's just, with everything going on, I just haven't had time. But now we have time, and now we are going to do the fix to this car. And this looks like it is a common problem because I had to go down and pull apart, and I pulled apart, and next thing you know, I'm like, this one's the same way. Went and pulled another one. It was the same way. What's the odds? I'm like, this ain't right. Pulled my third part and finally found a good one. I'm like, okay, this is a common problem. So let's post it onto YouTube and talk about it a little bit here. So this car came with the complaint of I'm losing coolant. I am smoking, white smoke coming out of the exhaust, and I got no heat. Well, two things going on there. You're losing coolant, you're not going to have heat after a certain amount of time because the coolant's now not circulating through the heater core because you're losing coolant. But that's besides the point. The biggest problem here is we've got coolant entering the combustion chamber. Now this could be three things. We're going to go with, it could be a head gasket. Did a compression check. It's good. It could be an intake gasket. I'm leaning towards an intake gasket. Well, the third one is now that I've figured out with this 3800 series motor, it's the upper plenum. Yes, the upper plenum. So let's get to where I've kind of diagnosed and figured out that it's not an intake and it's not a head gasket by going to the front end of the car. When I pulled the upper plenum of this vehicle, there was coolant laying inside of the upper intake. And plus, it was right up here in the EGR valve area. And then these two holes right here are for your coolant to come up into the upper plenum and be circulated through the throttle body and then back in. I don't know which way it's going to circulate, but it's going to circulate in some way. So I've gotten this all cleaned up and it's ready to go back together. And so what I actually did, the first thing I did is I just replaced the upper plenum gasket. Put it all back together. Had the same issue. Pulled this back off, coolant back laying in here, had to clean it all back out. So this is what I found. Here is where your throttle body bolts onto your upper plenum. Right here is where the coolant comes in. And then the coolant just gets circulated right through here and then back in. It doesn't go any farther than what you can see there. It does not go really far in there. It doesn't circulate anywhere else. It just goes in and then back out. Well, can you see the problem we have here? I had the light right. Bam. Right there in the intake or the throttle body seal, you can see right into the EGR port. And plus in here, in this little hole right here, you can see a hole in there. And then coolant is getting into there and then getting circulated into the throttle body or into the intake. Here's my replacement part, and you can see down here we still have a sealing surface and there's no hole in there. Plus, if you turn these babies over, let me get that done here real quick. You can see that this hole has gotten bigger and walled out, it's inflamed itself out. And then on this one, it's still nice and smooth. We still got to clean up this upper plenum. But yeah, that is the problem with this. Plus, this is off a year earlier vehicle, and it has wider passages opening, as you can see, which ain't going to really affect anything because our gasket over there in our toolbox is got big round holes. So yeah, when we go to lay this new gasket on here, oops, whoa, sliding away on me. It is not going to matter one bit. We can one-handed working a camera part on a car. You can see that that's not going to matter much, but that is the problem. So now the second time I put this thing back together, we're not going to have an issue because we are replacing this seal because where the water jacket holes are, they didn't even seal to that, so that was allowing coolant to go into the intake area, and the front intake seal was allowing fluid to pass through, plus the crack in this upper plenum. So that is the problem, and that is the fix, and it's a poor design when you're using plastic on an engine. So, but like always, the video is what it is. I hope you enjoyed it, and you know, I got nothing more to say on this, but the 3800 series motor, it's a good motor, but she has her issues on the top end. You know, usually don't have to change head gaskets on these very often, but I'm always messing around with the intake area on these things. They always have some kind of issue pops up, and this is a new one for me, so I thought I'd share it. So like always, comment, rate, subscribe, and yeah, the video is what it is, and I will catch you on the flip side. So later on.